everyone, this video is going to show you how to create a true-false question in ExamSoft. Before we go into creating a true-false question, if you haven't watched the multiple choice video, I would suggest at least watching the first minute or two, only because I talk a little bit about my organization process and how I go about creating an assessment that may be helpful. Because as you see here, I only have my question and then I have a blank document here, which you'll see why I have those in a few minutes. But this isn't normally how I go about the entire process of creating an assessment. So like I said, check out those first few minutes if you haven't. So again, here I've got my true-false question, I've got my category information. So now I need to go ahead and log into ExamSoft using my Neomed email address. If you don't remember your password for ExamSoft, email your course coordinator, or you can email Lisa Morris and she'll be able to reset the password for you. So once I've logged in and have come to the ExamSoft homepage, I'm going to click on Create Questions, and then I'm going to click on Create True-False. Once I get to the Create True-False question page, I'm going to first note the ID number. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down because it will allow me to add the question to the assessment later. There are different ways you can find questions if you don't have the ID number, but this is the easiest way to just write down the ID number and search for the question that way. So now that I've got that written down, I can go ahead and close that or minimize it. So the title you don't need to worry about. The first few words in the question stem will end up being the title. But the first thing that you need to do is select a folder to save the question in. So you will only have access to the pharmacotherapeutics folders, whereas I have access to all of the pharmacy course folders. So I will click on pharmacy. I'll scroll down to pharmacotherapeutics 1. And because this is a cardiology module question, I will select the cardiology module folder. Once I've saved the question to a folder, I may or may not need to add the question to a group. The only time you're going to add a question to a group is if it's a series of related questions. The way that we do this is we label it by course, module, topic, and then the group. So for example, this would be PT1. So this would be Pharmacotherapeutics 1, Cardio 1, PAD, because the topic is peripheral arterial disease, and then it's also the first group of this topic. Again, you're only going to do this if you have a series of questions that are related to the same case. If you don't, then you don't have to worry about this. And for the purpose of this question, we don't have to worry about this. So then next you want to add your categories. So I'm going to split my screen so I can see my categories. And I see that the topic is peripheral arterial disease. So again, you're only going to have access to pharmacy where I have access to all of the courses. So I'm going to scroll down and click on pharmacotherapeutics, and then I'm going to go down and click on Pharmacotherapeutics 1, click on the cardiology module, and then scroll down to the specific topic that I need. And I'm done with my topic. I've added it to the question. Then I need to come down to the learning outcomes, go to external ACPE appendix, and then my appendix is A1CS08. So A1CS08 is pharmacotherapy. I'll click on it and add it. And then the last is the level of difficulty. I'll come clear down here, click on level of difficulty, and then click on introductory because that's the level of difficulty for this question. Once I've done that, I'll hit done, and then I can go ahead and minimize this and open my screen back up. Next is weight. So if this question is going to be worth more than 1 point, you'll change that here. If there's an attachment that needs to go with it that's quite large, you're going to also want to drag the attachment here. You have to remember that the students are viewing this exam on a laptop screen. So if you put a large attachment in the question stem, it's very difficult for them to see it. When you add it as a separate attachment, a separate screen actually pops up when the students are taking the exam. So next we have rationale, which we don't need to worry about. And last we have internal comments. The only time you're going to add an internal comment is when you are creating a short answer question, which we'll talk about in a later video. So once I have my entire left side done, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to actually add in the question stem. So I like to, first of all, copy the question and paste it into a blank Word document because you have to take out all of the formatting, or it won't copy and paste correctly into ExamSoft. So then I'll cut this. And there are several different ways you can paste. You can paste the question this way and you just click on paste. You can click this and the same screen pops up and you can paste that way. I personally like to just use the keyboard functions. So I hit Control V and I've got my question stem. I know what the answer is. It's false. So then I'll go up and I'll delete these after I've chosen false. I'll go through and delete any extra spaces underneath the question stem. And then I'll go ahead and click approve. Approve will allow you to use the question on the assessment. If you hit save, ExamSoft will basically save the question as like a draft. So you can't use it on an assessment. So you don't ever want to hit save, you always want to hit approve. I'm not actually going to go hit approve on this question because it's already an existing question in the cardiology module. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit log out. You want to make sure that whenever you are done, you actually hit log out and not just exit out of the browser. If you just exit out of the browser and don't actually log out of ExamSoft and you are editing the assessment is locked to anyone else who wants to edit the assessment, because unfortunately in ExamSoft only one person at a time can edit an assessment. So if you don't hit log out and someone else tries to go in and edit the assessment, they cannot edit it because it's locked, saying that you are still editing the assessment. So in order to avoid that, you just want to come up here, click log out, and that's how you create a true-false question in ExamSoft.